Hi, my name's Rick, and this is the lovely Winnisquam River in Lochmere, New Hampshire. This is my fish story. I remember days of fishing on your grassy bank. The Super Bowl for me was sort of the completion of many circles, coming full circle, over a journey that's taken 22 years. Back in the late 80s, I was a student at Boston University. My girlfriend was a student at St. Michael's College in Vermont, where she had a job as a cocktail waitress at this little bar called Nectar's. She used to tell me about this band that she thought I'd love. She hated them, of course, because their fans would only ever order ice water, or they'd order one Coke and just keep ordering more ice. One night in 1989, I was laying in my dorm room with the window open, which happened to be right above the back door of the Paradise, which is a big club in Boston. I heard this music playing, and I thought, what the heck is that? So I ran down, went into the alley, snuck in the back door of the Paradise, and there was Phish. Now, if you go to YouTube and you look up some of the videos from 1989 at the Paradise, you can see me standing right in front of Trey, right at the edge of the stage. I wanted to see what kind of guitar effects he was using. 2 tube screamers and a compressor. Wicked tone. So I ended up seeing their first and second gigs in Boston. One of their first times out of Vermont. I signed up for the mailing list. I used to get the Doniak Schweiss in the mail. We also used to get flyers in the mail, which we would distribute every time Phish was coming to town. Great guerrilla marketing techniques, some of which I've copied in my own band over the years. Around 1990, I moved to Vail, Colorado. I brought my Phish tape with me, and I gave it to a friend that I had working at the local radio station who started playing Phish. Later on that year, or maybe around 1991, sometime in the winter, I had tickets to go see Phish in Boulder. I tried driving there through a blizzard and ended up hitting a deer, so I never made it to the concert. Fast forward to 1997, I moved to Thailand to join a couple of friends of mine and start a band called Flow. One of our first gigs was in Cambodia on the 4th of July. We were in the middle of playing our 4th song, which happened to be Chalk Dust Torture, when a coup started. A bunch of guys in army jeeps showed up and told us that a war had just started and the tanks were about a mile away and moving in our direction. So we closed up shop and locked ourselves in the bar for the night and watched the war on CNN. So it turns out that in 1997 in Cambodia, we were having a very similar experience to what Phish had when they were stuck in the storage unit, except we had bombs going off outside. I think it's safe to say we were probably the only band in Southeast Asia then or since covering Phish. During that time, a guy that we met who became a good friend of ours was Peter Cutter, who happened to be Mike Gordon's brother-in-law at the time. We kept trying to get Peter to go home to the family reunions and tell Mike that they should bring Phish to Thailand to come and play at the Full Moon Party on Koh Phangan, which we still think is a great idea. It turns out that the lead guitar player in my band, Roland Fleischacker, used to play with Jamie Maysfield, the jazz mandolin player, in a band in Australia. A few years later, we were playing at a club in Bangkok called The Living Room. We were playing Birds of a Feather, and this guy came in wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt and started dancing all night, and that was Don Bryant, who started the Wharf Rats, which is the Grateful Dead Alcoholics Anonymous group. Don became a great friend and followed the band around for years. Now, Don at the time was a medical student in Bangkok. And he said that he really wanted to get out of medicine, and all he wanted to do was go on tour and follow the Dead. So our bass player and his girlfriend one night went over to Don's apartment and unrolled a sarong full of silver jewelry and said, you know, you ought to try selling this stuff at festivals. That turned into a career for Don, and now you know him as Grateful Don, of Grateful Don Silver and Sarong, who you can see at any Further show and a lot of Phish shows, and a lot of the festivals all summer long. In the spring of 2011, my band had just released a new song called Drugs Against War and a new video, and we wanted to go to the United States to help promote it. I was surfing the net one day and I noticed that Phish was going to be performing on my birthday, July 2nd, at Super Bowl IX. So I called Don and asked him if he was going to be vending at the show, which he was. So he agreed to have us come and work for him in his booth, and in return we could promote our t-shirts and promote the song. Now on my birthday, which was the Saturday set, I had a mission. I wanted to get on the stage and jam with Phish after all these years. So I made this very elaborate sign explaining my story and asking to jam. Here's what my sign said.
Maybe if I write it down, it'll all make sense. And all the pieces of the puzzle will fall right into place by sheer coincidence. Maybe I'll just see you standing there and you'll look at me and suddenly we'll know. They say that things like this don't happen to the ordinary average Joe. If I believe the things I've heard.
In order to get close enough to the stage, up on the rail, we brought 30 of our t-shirts with us and handed them out to the crowd all around us.
Let's give it up for the Drugs Against War! Yeah! Woo! Good show you got. Yeah!
One of the guys in the crowd threw a t-shirt up on stage to Trey. He picked it up and looked at it and laughed and gave it to Paige. When I held up my sign, the guys read the whole thing, laughed, and then the crowd around me started chanting, "Do it! Do it! Do it!" Well, they didn't do it. And I can't really blame them because I probably wouldn't do it either. But interesting, at that moment I was standing in the exact same spot right in front of Trey that I was standing 22 years earlier at the Paradise. I had a great time at Super Bowl IX, and as I said, everything came full circle in a 22-year arc. That's pretty amazing. You know, I reckon I was probably one of the oldest fans there. If anyone watching this has been a fan since before 1989, give me a shout. It would have been nice to get on stage and jam with Phish. That would have been a legendary part of my career. But I reckon there's still time. So if you get a chance, go to www.drugsagainstwar.com, check out the video, order a t-shirt, and let's become friends. And if you guys ever want to jam, just give me a call.